I'm Rick Roth with the Ink Kitchen, also the owner of Mirror Image screen printing place in Rhode Island. And I'm going to be talking today, Shop Talk brought to you by Haynes and Hirsch, with LT Magnotto, who is art director at Jakprints, owner of Guardian Coffee, and my buddy, artist extraordinaire and good guy. And we're going to have a little shop talk today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rick. I appreciate it.
So I'm going to talk about a few things. One is, the pandemic is front and center. I know Cleveland was really had a hard time where you are. How has that reshaped what you're seeing out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely affected us all, Rick. As far as like the day-to-day goes at the shop, things are a lot different. We're working with a much leaner crew now because obviously the work has kind of slowed down a little bit. It's starting to kind of get back to where it should be. But again, like when we had to shut everything down, it's the only way to keep it going was to go with a lean crew. Like now I'm working from home. I'm handling all of the color separation duties at Jakprints, where before I had a team of 3 people and I was doing more of kind of managing. I also managed the embroidery department, so I was way more hands-on there. So now things are a little bit different because we're working remotely, but I think now everyone's kind of in the groove, used to working remotely. Everyone knows kind of the process of getting a hold of each other and what to do when, certain issues pop up. And it's relatively smooth now at this point. It seems kind of normal, which is pretty bizarre to think, like, because this is so different.
Like when you see people hugging each other on TV, you're like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be 6 feet apart and have masks on, right?
Yeah, big time.
I think you probably talk to other people in the industry because you do a lot of stuff for people in the industry. Mm-hmm. What you guys are going through is kind of seems like what everybody is, right? I mean, we are here as well. People's roles had to shift some, maybe the job mix changed, and you can't cry about it. You just have to, if you change or die, it seems like,
Yeah, big time. You definitely have to be flexible and be willing to adjust and be willing to change. You know what I mean? Everything about my job is so different than it was 17 years ago when I started doing this, Yeah. So it's just par for the course at this point, you know what I mean? But that said, like the industry that we work in, to be in it and to be good at it, you have to be flexible and able to change. You know what I mean? With screen printing, you're constantly throwing curveballs. And at the end of the day, this COVID thing is just another curveball.
Do you think this curveball has made, well, 2 things, I guess. Do you think that it's changed things, permanently in some ways? And I guess specifically, it seems like it might have accelerated things that were going on anyway. Have you seen that in what you guys are doing?
The one thing that I've seen a lot through the various shops that I'm in contact with and that I do work with is a lot more people are working remotely. So that's just one of those things that, like, I'm not necessarily sure it'll ever change and go back. Like, every shop I've ever been into, space is always at a premium, So it's like, if you're able to get by and you're able to not sacrifice quality or anything, and you can get that space back, I feel like a lot of these shops are going to continue to operate the way they are, where it's minimal staff there, leaning more heavily on remote employees.
Yeah, you're talking to a guy whose main artist, Judy Winters, has been living apart. She's only been here a couple times. We expected she would have to come often. In the end, she didn't have to, Yeah.
And again, that's a luxury for people that know what they're doing, right? Coming up, I don't know if I ever would have been able to hone my skills the way that I have if I wasn't there getting my hands dirty,
Yeah, she worked in the dark room. She printed, so she had that background. I agree.
Yep.
But once you do have that background, a lot of tasks can be done remotely. That's for sure.
Big time.
So have you found stuff within you that you didn't know you had, sort of? Like, has it brought out aspects of your talents or personality or whatever?
Well, for me, I know that I'm getting the most amount of work I've ever gotten done because I'm not constantly pulled in a million different directions. You know, like on the production floor, Rick, you know better than anyone. Um, it's easy to get sucked into all of the daily issues that pop up, right?
Yeah.
Being somebody that knows the most at the shop, you're always going to be tugged on and away from things to kind of troubleshoot issues when they come up because everybody's always looking for the quickest solution to their problem, right? So I don't think I had ever realized how much I was pulled away from the actual task of dealing with the file prep end of things and doing the color separations by being at the shop, right? So like when I'm working on a separation that takes me 3 hours to do, right? I might get pulled away from that 5, 6 times. And then every time getting back into it, there's a process of like figuring out where you were in the separation and kind
Yeah.
of getting back to it and making sure you're not missing something. Whereas when I can sit there and just like hone in and focus, I can get so much more done. You know, so that's the kind of surprising thing through this. I thought for sure I would be way more in the weeds than I am at this point.
Hmm.
Um, but again, it was, I would say during our busy season this year, like in like September and October, it was pretty grueling handling all that work as one person. But we made it through, and I don't know, I'm pretty surprised about it, but I'm stoked at the same time. Like I didn't realize I could be that efficient because I had never been able to be that efficient. You know, just being pulled in 1,000 different directions.
Right. So, have you had any little, that was sort of a big picture thing. Anything that's helped you be more efficient, like any tricks or, you know, color set things or printing trick, techniques or anything that you found that's like either interesting or helped you do things more efficiently, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, again, like everything that I know has come from practice and trial and error in a production environment. As far as like little tips that I like to drop on people that not everybody knows about, there's a real simple one that has saved me so much time in separating over the years. And I prefer to do most of my color separating in Photoshop, right? So when I get
Yeah.
a vector file, I bring that into Photoshop to work on it.
Right.
um, when rasterizing a vector image, a common error that people do is they will Photoshop automatically defaults the anti-aliasing option, and what that does is that adds like a blend of pixels between where two colors meet, right? So if you turn that off, you get this pixel to pixel kind of butt up against each other, and there's no blur or blend in
Right.
there, which makes color separating way easier. Um, Usually, I would have to spend 5 to 10 minutes cleaning up all of these areas in a separation where
Right.
those colors had blended because of the anti-aliasing. And once I realized that that's what was doing it and started rasterizing by turning that off, I can fly through a separation.
Do you still like it? I know, you're somebody that loves your work. I know people that at the top of the game. Um, I think someone told me there's a German word for it, like love of your work or something. But I
Yeah.
mean, I've always had it. I like T-shirts.
Oh, big time.
That's what drives me. And I know you're kind of like that. You still feel that
Yeah.
way?
Absolutely, Rick. I mean, I always preach at work, like you have to approach your work with passion, and like I understand that not everybody can have a job that they can be passionate about, but I'm definitely lucky enough to say that like I really love screen printing and I love decorated merch. I love embroidery the same way that I love screen printing. Like it's all kind of the same for me. It's something I think it comes from growing up, going to concerts and being part of the music scene, and then obviously, my start in the industry was I was working for an artist and I was playing in a band. And that's how I kind of met Jakprints. And they were printing merch for my band and for this artist I worked for. And it was kind of this natural progression there. But yeah, it's like merchandise has always been like a huge, exciting thing in my life, and so it makes a lot of sense that this is what I do, this is what we do. I know you, Rick, also you're a big music fanatic, and I'm sure that that's part
Yeah.
of why you do what you do.
So, it's true. So,
Yeah.
besides, you know, being into work, to keep your head straight, I think we talked earlier, you know, you got a few things going on. So
Yeah, right.
what's been keeping your head straight in a time that's, you know, I mean, people are really anxious out there. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think, I don't know if you found that, but the people around you, it's just everybody's on edge. A lot of people are bummed out. A lot of people are very, very anxious. And what are you doing to keep your own head straight?
Well, again, Rick, I mean, it's been a really long year, man. I, for one, have been taking the socially distancing and shelter at place thing very serious. I'm somebody that doesn't have COVID yet, and I don't want to get it. So I've been spending a lot of time at home. And really, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, it's been very difficult. I'm a really social person. I tend to keep pretty busy, and like being stuck at home has been a real change for me. But I've used that time definitely to focus on again the work that I have, being the single color separator for Jakprints now instead of three, and the workload not being too different. Um, that's been something that I've been able to just kind of focus on to get through my days. And I've pulled a lot of really long, like 12-hour days doing artwork. But again, like there was, what else was I going to be doing?
Oh, driving around in your pickup truck listening
Yeah.
to cassettes, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
Did you
right.
know you were doing that?
I did, yeah. Again, it's like sometimes you're done with the work and it's like, all right, well, what am I gonna do now? Screw it, I'm gonna go drive around and listen to cassette tapes. Like, because I don't know, I'm one of those people, I got to keep moving. And other than that, I've been using that time to focus on my businesses. Again, Rick, you brought up my coffee company, Guardian Cold Brew. We brew and bottle a specialty coffee beverage that's sold locally in Cleveland. And then we now offer our beans. We have like a subscription service, which I know you know about, Rick, because
I'm a subscriber.
Subscribe. Yeah. And then again, I do freelance.
Subscriber / addict.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, we all are. And then again, like I've been doing a lot of freelance color separations through my business, seps.inc, INK. And that's been a lot different than it was pre-pandemic, because obviously a lot of smaller shops that may have been able to keep in-house staff on doing artwork, they don't have that ability to anymore. Right. So I've been a lot of the people I work with are either owners or managers that have like a loose grasp on separating, and they'll handle all the like simple spot color stuff. And then they'll hit me up to do their more, advanced simulated process stuff. So those things have been keeping me pretty busy.
No crowded shows, right?
That's right. I miss it, man. I've got like a cloud where I keep all my like photos and videos in, and it'll send me like, today you were doing this. And today actually was a picture popped up. I don't know if you saw it. I texted it to you. It's a photo of you and I drinking margaritas, and you're kissing me on the cheek. I'm like, man, I miss travel. I miss shows. I miss my friends.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I came up on one of my things. We were at Roscoe's, which I think is now even not there. Like,
oh, bummer.
The chicken waffles, and then, Mai Tais and old guys playing jazz. It was kind of crazy place, But
that was a great spot, man.
Now I'm hoping that
if anyone watching this ever runs into Rick somewhere, you go where Rick tells you to go, because he knows all the spots.
Roscoe's was a good one, man. That was a real good one. All right, I think that about does it. I'm glad you're doing okay, and I think it's kind of inspirational to see that you're into what you do. I think you have to be, and you can't get down. You just got to change, and the message came through loud and clear. And I always get jazzed because I like to be around people that love what they do. So anyway, thanks. LT Magnotto from Jakprints. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, Rick. Miss you. I love you, buddy.
All right, bye.
Take care.